This is Cosmic Cavern in Arkansas. We're going to do a cave tour, and come join us on this expedition.
So where you folks come from?
And we are
Okay,
entering.
sweet, me too.
Okay.
Nebraska.
Okay. I have a story about a fellow. Talk about this tunnel first. We have to talk about flooding in the cave. So occasionally our cave does flood, but a good thing about flooding in our cave is we do not have to worry about flash floods. If flash floods were an issue, we would not give tours down here because this is too dangerous. Instead, what happens, for every inch of surface level water, when it matriculates down into the cave, because it becomes so
This is a kerosene torch that was used to mine onyx, and this is some damage from smoke that was caused in the cave.
that are making wells around here. They discover them more than anyone, so they got the drill going down.
Yeah, and then you hit a spot. But
Yeah,
it
just
drops.
sinks right down really quickly.
Yeah.
Don't get too far ahead of me. Sweet. So this is the overflow room. We do not always have water in here. In fact, alright, so that gypsum room I keep on talking about is located right above me. Gypsum is a white, flakish, log-like material that they use for making sheetrock.
This is a fault line
One of those examples came from the
where
tunnel digging, and
earthquakes have occurred,
accidentally broken off in this room back in the
and water does seep into the cave through this fault
Remind
line.
me about it, and I'll hand it off to you to show you it. So steady yourselves to get into the gypsum room. Martin Bueller never.
And this is what is known as the brain, which we are allowed to touch. And this is a rope one of the previous owners put in here, runs into the fault line. And I am going to touch the brain. Interesting. And this is the bottomless lake. They've had scuba divers go down to 150 feet and not yet find the depth of it. And this is the lactite that is dripping at a feverish pace, which means it's probably growing at an accelerated rate.
Yeah, so when they first started doing tours here back in 1927, even back then they could see these barrels and they didn't know what was going on. In the 1980s, the owner of the cave, my buddy Ram, he was giving a tour
More of
and
the
showing
lake
all
right
these
here.
barrels, and there was an old timer on his tour, and he's like, I can tell you how those barrels got there.
I'm going to look back at the bottomless lake.
That's not right. But like trying to keep everything cool and calm, I was like, hey man. And he looks over here at these wires and he's like, oh man, you got an electrical fire. So I was just like, alright, I'm sorry, I'm gonna take everyone up top, and I gave everyone a refund, which really made my boss angry.
Now this part of the cave was only discovered in 1993, and it was dynamited out. And it made national news because it's what lays on the other side is supposed to be a very beautiful room that was unknown to anyone up until 1993. And we're about to enter that room.
That cubby hole us adults has crawled through, the airflow that went into the ghost room that produced that perpetual humming sound ceased. Like I was saying, the first time human eyes were ever laid upon this room was in January of 1993. In fact, January 23rd of 1993. So you never had human beings back here beforehand, so no mining, no smoke damage color-wise. You see the snow white color to a more peachy tan. Also, it was really significant about this area. Almost all the formations are still intact. Assuming that they were at that. Not necessarily back here. I just wanted to remind everyone of that one. All right, so that waterfall sound Ray was hearing was water entering through this passage up here. This is the deepest we are on this wall, cascading to the North Lake. The North Lake, like the South Lake, has had divers come back here, but they didn't make it near as far as they did back in the South Lake. In fact, they only made it about 40 feet down here, at which point they turned around and came back up. But once again, they did not find the bottom. My colleagues theorized the North and the South Lake weakness. So if we can direct everyone's attention to the darkness, I'll show everyone why I like it so much, assuming that, in my opinion, it's absolutely stunning. This column also gives us an excellent indication that there has not been significant seismic activity in our cave for at least 6,000 years in order for this column to form in the manner that it has. And in all likelihood, it's probably been much longer than that since that hour has been inactive for quite some time. If you look to the left of that column, you see the skinny soda straw up top? Yeah, so this dude is 9 feet long, and what's significant about this particular soda straw is it is the longest documented in all the Ozarks, the longest in the state of Arkansas and Missouri, which is really cool.
And some of the awesome stalactites hanging back in the newly discovered room.
That's extremely low, so we're quite fond of it. If you want to come up here and take some pictures, please have at it. Or if you would like to do a group photo in front of this, I'd be more than happy to take off my money glove.
Where are you going?
You can
Where do I go? Over here?
get over here.
Here's some examples
So
of
in
where
just a
some
few,
stalagmites and stalactites joined up
taking
and
pictures up
formed
here,
a
I'm
column.
going to cut ahead and lead us back through the tunnel. But see a thick layer of white stuff around the outside. That's the calcite. Right down the middle, you can see that it's hollowed out and how one could just snap it off, put it in your beverage, and slurp it up. So, man, when you're coming through here, it's right up here. You get a real good shot of one. We're going to the...
Okay, we're on our way to the Buddha room, which is not the best ceiling for a 6-foot floor person like me. I'll do my best impression of being 4 feet tall. Alright. Continue to go down this narrow passage. Going deep underground. That's a tight turn right here. And the final approach down to the bottom.
It means it's down here in the Buddha room. That's really like 50 feet beneath it. So fingers crossed. This is here to the south side of the cave. What's really cool about this room, first of all, this stalactite here, this is the most active part of the cave. This puppy's always rocking and rolling. It's always got water dripping off the end of it. When I took the tree stump, the reason this dude looks so much like a tree stump is it is a tree stump. You can tell for certain from the rings and the crack. About 50 years ago, some goofball that worked here thought it was a cautionary tale. of a toxic relationship. And I will do my little inner Dr. Phil here. Emotions are involuntary. Inevitably, you're going to love somebody. Most of us already have. You don't choose that. But who do you have to love first? Yourself. That's right. Bananas.
9,000 years old and also known as E.T.'s finger. This is the Buddha room.
Magnesium. So what essentially we're looking at here is the world's biggest tombs. And guess what people did to the world's biggest tombs all the time before the
Graffiti.
pandemic?
Touched it.
Touched it and licked it.
This is a fossilized leaf that could be millions of years old. Probably got stuck up here during a flood and stayed. And this completes our tour of Cosmic Cavern. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe to my channel. And we'll see you on our next adventure.